P-I-C-O.
Pico. Prospective. Pico Prospective.
And welcome to another edition of Pico PROSpectives, your source for news and information on the Pico projection revolution. I'm your host, George Tucker from AVNation, and this show is brought to you by AVNation and the fine folks at PicoPros.com. Introduce you today. Hey guys, Paul and Rich Marganski. They are the gentlemen who run Pico Pros.
Hey George, how are you?
All right, it's been about a month, just over a month since we've last seen each other.
Yeah, it's a
And
beautiful
it was a fun
day.
show. Yeah, it's a beautiful day where you are. I know, very nice.
Yeah. You're not too far from us.
No,
Beautiful day
no.
where you are too.
But you've got a nice grass lawn back there. I'm having,
Well, that's not
I'm
mine.
having some envy. Well, and before we get to the news and some other information, we have a special guest with us today. He is one Jeremy Yakel. He is the president and founder of Fabi Entertainment. Welcome to Pico ProSpectives, Jeremy.
Hey, thanks, George. Appreciate you.
All right.
Hey,
And we're
welcome,
gonna get-
Jeremy.
We're going to get into a lot of stuff about the J6 and some other Pico projectors that Fabi Entertainment does. But first, let's talk about the news, gentlemen.
All right.
Paul, you had something about the Galaxy Beam 2, some more information on it.
Yeah, actually, so Rich covered this about a month ago or so, the little bit of details we knew about it, but I think it was April 24th was the official announcement that China Mobile was going to get the Galaxy Beam 2 from Samsung. And while we don't have all the details even now, because it actually hasn't been released into the wild, let's say, they announced the launch, again, in China, on China Mobile only. So this is a little bit different than the original Galaxy Beam phone. I believe that was a little more widely available, maybe in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. So the Galaxy Beam 2 is very similar in a lot of ways to the existing Galaxy Beam. And again, details are a little bit sketchy, if you will, whatever you want to call it. But the Galaxy Beam 2 is sort of, generally speaking, sort of a dumbed-down version of the Samsung Galaxy S3 or S4, let's say. So it has a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor, 5-megapixel camera, a lower resolution screen. A lot of this, I believe, in my opinion, would be for cost savings to get that projector module in there. The cost for a lot of these modules is still not, really cheap for mass market adoption. So, but the important thing is that it did officially get announced on China Mobile and is pending launch any week now, as far as we can tell. Again, we don't have all the specs. Nobody does. We've looked everywhere. Our assumption is it's still a WVGA resolution engine, which would be 854 by 480. In this case, it's a DLP chipset with LED backlighting. And as far as lumen output, which is one of the more important factors for an embedded projector at this point, again, they haven't announced that. They haven't released that information. The original Galaxy Beam was the last version was 15 ANSI lumens. This one, obviously, you would hope would be at least 15 ANSI lumens. Maybe they bump it up to 20. Hard to say. More to come, but it's interesting to see that it actually announced literally a week or two after we did our show. And anytime we get additional details, we'll be sure to post it on PicoPros.com or any of our social media outlets.
Well, tell me a little bit more about the Quick Logic technology. I know you and I have talked about this briefly, but there's more to it.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting to note that the Galaxy Beam 2 actually utilizes QuickLogic's Arctic Link 3BX technology, which is a way to handle, it's a unique way to handle the signal processing. So the inherent device, the smartphone itself, can only handle one. I'm not an expert in this, but it can only handle one set of video output signals. So that the processor is sending information to the LCD screen, let's say, and it's in a different format than the projector would want. So in order to handle all that, you adopt this Arctic Link 3BX technology from QuickLogic, which is a very low-cost way to do it. You're able to split the video signal, one to the screen and one to the projector. So it's an elegant way to get the job done without adding a bunch of unnecessary electronics to the device.
Interesting.
Yeah. And again, it'd be great to get QuickLogic on a call to really talk about their core technology, the different kinds of things they can bring to the Pico projector space, because it's not just the Arctic Link BX3. They have something called enhancement engine, and then the BCC, which is background color compensator. So one of them allows you to have lower power consumption while enhancing the contrast and viewability of the image, and we've done that on our website, on our YouTube channel. You can watch those videos. And then the background color compensator, actually, if you're projecting on a non-white surface, that's actually 99% of the time when you're using a portable projector, it actually can sense the color you're projecting on and subtract that from the image you're projecting so that your blues or greens or whatever it is actually look more natural. It's an interesting company.
Interesting.
Cool.
So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the most important part about this that we talked in our last podcast was that it actually comes with the brushed aluminum housing that we were all joking about last time.
There you go. It'll match your Sub-Zero freezer. So.
Very modern.
All right, Rich, we also talked about offline the TI's tilt and roll pixel technology. You were explaining to me that this was diamond-shaped pixels that allow for thinner and better imagery. Tell me a little bit more about this.
All right, so TI, they have a DLP engine chipset that they came out with last year. Their tilt and roll. Basically, it's a chipset that allows for the way that they use the pixels that they actually move and they tilt. But the big part about it is that the pixels are rotated 45 degrees. So they sort of like if you were to look at the arrangement of the pixels, they look like diamond shapes, and they're stacked, in a diamond formation. So the way that a couple benefits out of that are that one, you actually get a little bit of a higher resolution with the same amount of pixels based on the arrangement that you have, and so you get better resolution. There's some algorithms that TI has implemented with the tilt and roll also that allows for higher brightness, lower power consumption, and that type of thing. So it's the technology that they came out with last year, and they had it's like a small version of it. It was a 0.2 inch version. I think it's 0.2 inch, right?
0.2 inches thick, yeah.
They came out with that, and that was last year. And basically what happened recently was that they came out with the same technology but a little bit bigger. So they have the technology for small pixels, or small Pico projectors. Now they're kind of integrating it with their larger handheld type projectors. So they're moving this technology forward based on the fact that you can get higher brightness, lower power consumption in a smaller package. It allows for much thinner chipsets and whatnot, which is really, really good for the Pico projector market. So you can, yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because what you just said is that it was on some other projectors, standard projectors, and they're migrating this technology to the Pico. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, they don't have it officially in any commercial
okay.
Projectors right now that we know of.
But
it's out there, and it's a small technology that's available, and they have the new one that's available to it's a larger chipset that they could use potentially in the future. But basically, it's great for phones, tablets, that type of thing. Wearables and projectors.
If they get it small enough, I don't think they're there yet, at least from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but they'll get it one day. I mean, as we move forward, the projectors are just going to get smaller and smaller. As it just makes sense.
Yeah, right now the best, right now you're looking for a Pico projector. 720p is really some of the, we'll say, a little bit larger handheld projectors, like something from, I'll throw out the names out there, Optima or maybe Vivitech or one of those companies. I'm sure Favi has something they can speak to as well. We'd love to hear it, and certainly would be happy to review any of their newer products. I think the 720p engine that TI has now, even using the tilt roll pixel, are more for the handheld mobile projectors versus the small battery-powered ones that are probably using the 0.2 inch thick WVGA resolution version of the TRP, or tilt and roll pixel engine, from what we're seeing.
Well, let me throw this to Jeremy then. Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit more about what the TRP technology is and why that's important?
I mean, it's for a lot of the reasons why what Paul was saying. You know, it's limited in the applications that it's being used in right now, but you know, it's coming. It's definitely on its way, and should be very important here in the next year or so.
Well, what more does it give me? From a Pico projection kind of fan perspective, why would I be excited about this technology really being implemented by TI?
I would say, I could jump in. I think the size, it allows for a much thinner chipset, and it's brighter, lower power consumption. As you get into smaller portable projection, people are going to start worrying about battery life. I think that's the next race in the smartphone market, is that people aren't so much, like when somebody goes out to buy a new smartphone, I think we've plateaued in screen resolution, we've plateaued in processor speed, that type of thing. Our phones run pretty quick now. When you use a lot of the modern smartphones, they run nice, they're smooth. I mean, I don't get a lot of lag on mine, and I have been old because of my Galaxy 3 is broken, so I have an iPhone 4S. It's an old phone. It still runs pretty good.
Yeah. I liken it to the PC wars where, you know, I think I talked about this on the last podcast, but I'll say it again. You know, everybody was trying to get a faster processor, whether it was 500 megahertz and it was gigahertz and 1.2, 1.5, all that. They got to a point where customers didn't care that it was, you know, another gigahertz faster. It was all about RAM, and then it even moved on to different features, and then it came out, you know, who could make the thinner laptop and the lighter one and longer battery life. And I think that's pretty much where we are with smartphones, even before we get into the whole embedded projection thing, which still has, I believe it has a ways to go until you're actually going to see them embedded in cell phones. So, you know, when we're talking Pico projectors, whether it's a handheld battery one or a mobile one that might be plugged into a wall, certainly battery life and power consumption, resolution, trying to get it smaller, lighter, cheaper. Certainly cheaper, I think, is probably one of the chief benefits of the newer engines. And you know, Jeremy, as a manufacturer and distributor of these products, can speak most intelligently, of course, about what's the most important features to their customers.
Well, Jeremy, let us throw it to you. Let's talk about Fabi Entertainment for a moment, because you guys do projection, but you do a whole lot more. So for the audience who hasn't heard of your company or hasn't seen your products, or maybe they've seen it and they don't even know they've seen it, tell us a little bit about Favi, and then we'll move on to the J6. I'll delay the Marganski boys' excitement about this for just a moment.
Okay. Well, I founded Favi back in 2006, back in my dorm room at Michigan State.
That's awesome.
I was doing, making DIY type projectors, started selling it around campus, kind of caught, said, hey, why don't I develop a brand around it? Developed a brand around it. A couple years later, we were one of the first companies to launch a Pico projector. And then we kind of took that a little bit further and said, hey, listen, projectors, there's not much happening in the space. I mean, they get smaller, they get brighter. You know, what can we do differently? So we started our journey on the whole smart device embedded game by embedding Android, an early version of Android, into a Pico projector. So we were one of the first companies to do that, and that was about 5 years ago, I believe. And kind of took that, and that's been our core focus for the last several years, is doing smart technology, focusing on the software. Brighter, yes. Smaller, yes. But make it a little bit easier for the customer to use. Do things a little bit differently. Try to shake things up, and make it truly usable for mass market. So that's kind of how we've evolved, and we've spread out into other. But our core focus is really on smart technology, and really embedding the software into hardware devices.
I think that's great, actually, because one of the things that I think about when I think of Pico projectors, you see a lot of them as standalone units that you have to carry a plug with a wire and you have to connect them. it's a hassle. When you talk about the software and everything embedded together, it completes a whole package. So it's great to just be able to pull something out of your pocket and have a whole experience. You don't have to hook up any wires or anything like that. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think before we get into truly embedded into tablets and smartphones, which again I don't think technology is there yet. I think devices like the J6 LED Pico that we talked about last time, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about today. That's where the next 3 to 5 years I think is going to be the sweet spot, is having a companion device that one or more devices can pair to easily, quickly, and just be able to run, whether it's gaming, apps, internet, whatever it is, so that it's truly seamless to the customer. Because the legacy products from it's every Pico projector. The legacy, you have to worry about adapters going to mini HDMI and all this stuff. The J6 has full-size connections. That's why we love it so much. It's just very intuitive, very natural to use.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really what we tried to hit on when when we made the J6. Is what do I want to use when I go to a business meeting? What do I want to use at home? With my kids. Like, I want to play games. I want to be able to do all this, but I want to do it seamlessly. And I want to be able to charge my smartphone from it. I want to make it a power bank as well. So what can we make? We make this really like essentially a Swiss Army knife for projectors. With this, and I think we accomplished our goal with it. Just to yes, have the Miracast and have all the latest technologies, but make it truly usable from a projector standpoint as well.
Okay, nailed it with the J6.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the J6 then. I mean, to me, it from an outsider's view, where I was brought into Pico projection systems by knowing Paul and Rich, this thing does a lot. What went behind the development of this projector in order to get, well, all those features that you get, from the hardware right through to doing the Miracast and all that other stuff?
You know what? It comes down to having a good partner in DLP. To make sure that it has real sound projection technology. So that that's the first thing. That's the core products. We have made sure that, and then it relied a lot heavily on our our experience in development and design of similar AV products. So we were able to, in our experience in software development. So it was kind of a culmination of all these different factors and us saying, listen, we're not going to try to do, it's not going to be another Me Too product. It's going to be, it needs to be something special. If we're going to do it and we're going to invest time in it, it needs to really hit a market need. So that's kind of what we were doing at a high level when we came to this.
And do you find that the streaming capabilities that this product actually enables is more important than the physical hardware, or is the physical hardware still really important? And by that I mean the connections. You spend a lot of time, obviously, trying to figure out how to get these connectors on that very small backplane and have it usable.
I think that's a good question. I mean, it's all really, really important. But we wanted to, so if, say, your phone doesn't have Miracast, how can I easily connect this device? How am I still going to be happy with it? Why am I still going to want it? So, like Paul was saying, we have a full HDMI input on it, not a micro or a mini, and that was part of the plan when we were in development of it. So, if one feature is more important than the other, it's kind of hard to say. But I feel like it hits a lot of different needs. For a lot of different types of customers.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you have a product, I'm sorry, okay, yeah, usually when you have a product that does everything, the overall device is kind of middle of the road. You have a Swiss Army knife. It's not a very good knife. It's not a good pair of scissors. But this one's both. It's a Swiss Army knife, and it's the best in a lot of categories. I mean, very few offer Miracast. It's very bright for its size, and one of the most important things for me, anyways, the throw ratio was incredible on this thing. If I measured it right, it was pretty much 1-to-1. So if you want to produce a 4-foot image, you're only 4 feet away. You're not 8 feet away, which is huge, in my opinion. Again, as a user and as a reviewer.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Paul, because that's a very important point. It's it definitely factors that we took into account, and it definitely prolonged the design process. I will say that. But again, we really wanted to make it exactly what we would use, and what my mom would make it usable, for the techie guys to the everyday person.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get the throw ratio? I mean, as far as I can tell, the J6 is the only one that has about a 1-to-1 with a DLP chipset or any LED backlit projector. I mean, you just use special lenses to get that throw ratio. It's amazing. I mean, it's pretty small.
Yeah, definitely. It was, it's some magic here, some magic there, right?
I'm sure exactly.
Help with TI and getting the right lenses and everything and the right hardware in there. Was really and then we really went to the board to draw.
And it's hugely important to have a short throw ratio with a small projector, because if you want to share photos or show a video to a friend, I mean, I have a wall over here. If I'm able to just stand a couple feet away from the wall and have a nice big image.
It's more important than I think a lot of people just thinking about Pico projector and actually using one. It makes a huge difference in actually seeing it in use and using it. Yeah.
And especially small things like the HDMI port on it. I mean, who carries around an adapter that goes from a large, normal HDMI size to a mini HDMI? How many people have that in their back pocket? Exactly. Like if you have this thing in your laptop bag, generally you keep an HDMI cord with your laptop.
Right.
You can hook it up to a TV. So you're not going to have a little adapter. It makes it so much easier to be able to just take the projector out and start using it.
Exactly.
Like you said, your grandmother can start using it or something.
Pretty much.
So.
Well, that does bring up a point, Jeremy, though. Where does this product sit? Or what is the final place for Pico projection? A lot of people have said that it's residential, or it's the commercial market or the consumer market. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But is there a potential for the commercial market as well? Are you guys looking at that, or is it a broader view?
Yeah, I definitely think that there is some definite applications there. I still think there, it's very much, it's still, a consumer type device, business, and entertainment hybrid. But I think the commercial applications they're definitely there and they're definitely coming.
Have you pursued the commercial opportunities, or is that still a development thing?
You know what? Not at this moment right now. We're focused on, but I'm sure they will present itself, here pretty soon.
And I only ask because that sort of consumer prosumer market is sort of blending very quickly with the emergence of IT departments being the AV departments. Right. That quickly becomes the de facto. Oh, we should do this in a huddle room because it's quick, it's easy, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's that, and then there's all the. We've been contacted by so many different companies over the years now, looking for these unique commercial applications that we never even thought were possible. But it's not an active focus, but we end up seeing those commercial applications, come to us in those certain specialty projects.
Well, Rich and Paul, tell me now, you guys were really excited about this product for a lot of reasons. Let's specifically talk about your experience with the wireless, the Miracast, and that stuff, because that's something I see most of us saying, hey, I know I have that on my Droid phone, or I have it on my whatever. What was your experience with it? Why is that important?
Yeah, so I was the one that did the review on that one, so I'll speak for myself anyway. That was the first time I actually used Miracast on my Galaxy S4 or any smartphone, to be honest with you. And it was actually quite simple to use. The directions were very, simple. It just worked, you know what I mean? You pair to your Wi-Fi network, you connect to the J6 LED Pico, and it just works right away. It mirrors everything on your phone, which, just like 2-3 years ago, you couldn't mirror anything. Everybody had actually Apple, and I'm not knocking them because they're trying to protect their content. But it's important. Just in the last couple of years, you're seeing these companies really unlock it so that you could get video out, not just for gaming, not just for movies, but your entire OS is available to mirror via video out, whether it's a projector or a HD TV or whatever it is. So I think the ecosystem has sort of helped enable, potentially anyways, the adoption of these portable projectors. And you see the growth year over year for the Pico projector, still fairly small, Pico and portable, let's say, still fairly small on the overall, but it's really, that's how these disruptive or emergent technologies work. It gets to a point where, nobody knows about them, then all of a sudden everybody knows about them.
Jeremy, let me ask you about getting to HD. This is sort of the golden ratio, the dream. How far away are we from getting really good HD on Pico projection?
I don't think it's too far off. What we try to focus on is getting the right, getting the absolute right product at the right price too. Around about a year off for us to get the native 720p. That's where it's in our roadmap. Because we want to get it absolutely right. It's not another Me Too product. It's it's right. Has some unique embedded software on it. Well, that's kind of where we're at. That's where Fabi's at with the
Yeah, and let's talk about that, because the Paul and Rich have really made an emphasis of that I was very shocked about. The product MSRP's for under $350.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable for the lumens that it gives, the 1-to-1 ratio, all the connections, the Miracast, the DLNA, and AirPlay, correct?
Yes.
And
yes.
AirPlay, which is a remarkable little device for that value. And my question of HD, of course, you get the home theater heads who want to go that way, and this could be a solution, but they're stuck on this. It has to be that. But looking at Rich and Paul's review of it, that's a bright projector. That's a very bright projector.
And the chipset that it uses from TI, is still, it really puts out a nice picture. It's a real good balance, I would say. I would say, stuck on the 720p thing, just give it a test.
Yeah.
Give it a test, and if you don't like it, we'll take your return. It's not a big deal.
Seriously.
So.
Well, and to you guys, Rich and Paul, you showed this video with the review. It was on a blue wall, if I remember correctly, that you were showing it?
One of the videos was on a blue wall, and it still managed to produce a really, really nice image.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that when I was looking at it, going, wow, you told me it was a blue wall, we saw that, I'm like, wow, that is really bright. I mean, if we deal in the world of big projectors, 85 lumens may not be something they're astounded by, but in this compact package, and you're saying, what is the battery life on this for a single presentation, for a single charge? Jeremy?
1,000 milliamp.
Right, and how long could I run this thing for off of a charge?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours. That's more than most movies, unless you're into art films. And that's a little longer.
Yeah.
Gotta make room for the little, translations at the bottom.
And go back to battery life. I mean, battery life is going to be the big seller for.
Yeah, and that's where the TI tilt roll pixel comes in, where you have double the brightness at half the 50% power consumption. So it's like a 4x improvement in efficiency right there. So things are still rapidly improving in the entire, the engine space in terms of the LEDs or lasers, but mostly LEDs at this point. And certainly the mirror technology or the electronics behind it. Companies are pumping a lot of money, whether we see it or not, into improving this. And it's really rapidly increasing. So you can only imagine 2-3 years from now, you're going to be talking, who knows what, a couple hundred lumens at the battery, consuming the same amount of battery that we're seeing today or something like that at 720 or 1080p. I mean, who knows? Years are going to be just as exciting.
Well, one of the things you brought up was, there's a lot of lot of money going in, and there's a lot of players out there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I was thinking about this, is Jeremy, have you guys tried to get this into like a Best Buy or a Walmart? I mean, the thing I noticed with a lot of small projectors and Pico projectors is that I don't see them a lot on TV. Like,
you got the Brookstone one, you got
yeah.
the 3M one. There's not a lot in
I
stores.
don't
You're right.
see a lot of advertising, and I don't see them a lot.
Rich, I think it's a little bit. The bigger outfits are a little bit scared because I think that some of them bought in early in the game on the Picos when it wasn't right, and they saw a really high rate of returns.
Yeah, I bet.
So I think they got a little scared, on the end game with it, and that's starting to shift a little bit.
Okay.
To see a pretty good uptick in the whole category as far as sales go. So, our contacts at the major retailers, we're starting to see that shift, and certainly product.
Yeah, I think as we move forward and people start to see all this ease of use, and as the technology moves forward, I mean, with the J6, it's like it's an amazing thing. I would expect, I would love to see this thing in like on a Best Buy counter or something like that. It'd be great. It's just
this whole story is playing out exactly like the Gartner hype cycle. I swear, we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
You get the hype back in 2007, 8, and 9, crashes. Everybody thinks the technology is garbage, and I think we're really starting to see, adoption here and there, and all of a sudden it's just going to take off on some level. Whether it's going to be in everybody's home, who knows? But it's going to be significantly more than it is today. You're talking a few millions of units for Pico projectors. You're eventually, and there's a lot of reports to substantiate this, and forecasts are forecasts, but you're probably going to be seeing tens of millions of units, not too distant future.
I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, we're seeing, we run category numbers, and it's as a category as far as consumer electronics goes, definitely on its way up. It's a different technology than it was a few years ago.
So, Jeremy, do we see anytime soon where the box store will have a projector shootout, sort of like they have all those cell phones lined up for you to try on the little things, and we'll have a projector shootout at their counter?
Oh, I'm hoping so.
That would be fun. Now, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Guys, it's funny how a half hour can go so quickly. I want to thank our guests today. This has been the Pico PROSpectives show. Of course, Paul and Rich Marganski, they are the gentlemen who run PicoPros.com, a great website for all of your information on Pico projection. And, of course, great talking to you, Jeremy Yakel from Fabi Entertainment. Jeremy, where can people find you, more information about what you guys do?
You can go to FaviEntertainment.com. That's Favi Entertainment.com. You can find our products anywhere else online.
Well, there you go. And Paul and Rich, of course, where can people find out more about what you guys are doing?
We have the website PicoPros.com. We have our new iOS app. So you go down to the Apple App Store, download the Pico Pros app.
Don't forget YouTube.com/PicoPros is our biggest draw. Twitter, Facebook.com/PicoPros, all that. We're on most social media networks. Google Plus, obviously, we're doing Google Hangouts right now. So.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Jeremy, for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking your time talking about Fabi Entertainment. So.
And I'll just put a plug in it. Any new products that you have that we can review, we'd be absolutely happy to review.
Yeah, no, seriously. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining.
Well, and remember, guys, on that YouTube channel and on their website is three videos? 3 videos on the J6.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, they review the whole unboxing to the projection to the controls. It's really comprehensive, and there's lots to learn about it. And if you don't buy one after watching it, I don't know what's wrong with you. So,
it really is the best one on the market right now. I swear.
There is lots to learn. I didn't know it had AirPlay.
It's unbelievable. Today. Yeah, it is unbelievable.
Okay.
Well, guys, this has been another edition of the Pico PROSpectives, brought to you by the PicoPros.com guys and AVNation. Please visit us at AVNation.tv. We have this show and many, many more on the audiovisual industry, both from the commercial and residential side, from the integration side, and from the consumer side. That's AVNation.tv. Thank you for watching, and we hope to speak to you again very soon. This has been Pico PROSpectives.